Hi, welcome to my channel if this is your first view, and welcome back if you're an existing subscriber. Today I want to talk about the EasyConnect platform within PROCON-Connect. I've already done a playlist of videos regarding EasyConnect, so I'm not going to go through every step of setting it up because it would take too long. But if you want to look at my playlist, I'll show you. So this is my YouTube channel and this is my playlist regarding EasyConnect. So there are 4 videos. Obviously you'd want to watch the first one, which is getting started, and then maybe you can jump the U-link for now because that's a separate type of service, but you may also want to look at the telemetry setup and dashboards, charts, live view. But definitely this first video is worth a review of before you continue with this. Okay, so assuming you're familiar with the EasyConnect Cloud, we will now go in and set my device up from the beginning. So to open up Vidmuller EasyConnect, you can literally go onto Google, type in Vidmuller EasyConnect, and here it is. Click into there. And if you remember, when you've set up your EasyConnect, you have what you call a tenant, and a tenant is like a company, I guess, is a way of thinking about it, and then there may be employees within the company that have got access to the same devices. So you go into device management, and I've got a couple of devices set up here, but I want to add a third, so I'm going to go to add device, and device type is a controller, and I want to add the IIoT connector, which basically gives me the most basic level of connectivity from the hardware to the IIoT cloud platform, as in the cloud logo. I can type in details, so I'll give it a name. And these are all optional, so I'm not going to fill that. I'm just going to save time. So it's a controller and it's IIoT. Add device. New device has been added. And then you get what you call an activation code or activation credentials. So you can look at it or you can just copy it. So I only really need to copy it. I've got 7 days to activate it. If I don't activate it in 7 days, I'll have to go through the process again. So at the moment it says pending. So now I need to open up my actual controller. Log into the controller with whatever credentials you've created. And I like to go into the control center and the apps and just check everything's running. One thing I will say is that if you watch my videos on setting up the EasyConnect service, there was an app called IIoT Connector. That has been superseded with Vidmuller PROCON-Connect. If you're using Vidmuller PROCON-Connect, the app still does exist, IIoT connector, but that's more for historic purposes. So moving forward with PROCON-Connect, it's IIoT is a feature within here. So open that, open again, log in with the default password, PROCON, it's shown here, and go to the IIoT connector. And I've already got MQTT set up from a previous YouTube video. So if I add connector, now I'm going to add EasyConnect, give it a name. M3000 EasyConnect, and then we need the activation code. So we have to go back to EasyConnect. And just a reminder, go into here. So we need to add a new device. These are 2 existing controls. I want to add a new one. It's a controller. I want to use the IIoT app. Details, I've got the optionally give it a name, but I think it's a good idea. Address is not IP addresses, it's physical location addresses, so they're all optional. So that's it really. Give it a device name, point to controller and point to that IIoT connector add device. new device is added, and now it says I have 7 days to authorize this. The activation code will expire in a week. So I can either look at the activation code or I can just copy it, and it says status pending. So what I now do is go back to the controller PROCON-Connect app and paste that activation code in, and I'm not changing anything else, just hit save, and it says saved but not connected. So we go connect now because it's inactive at the moment. Start connecting, and connector successfully connected, and now we've got connected there. So just a recap of exactly what I'm doing here, I'm going to be reading data from a telemetry connection, telemetry being here, and in this particular instance I'm using Modbus TCP telemetry, so I'm reading data from a Weidmuller UR20 remote I/O system into the telemetry app, and then I'm passing it out through the IoT connector into the EasyConnect service. What I'm going to do now is go into the telemetry app, go to driver configuration, and I've already got a driver running. If I edit it, you'll see that that's the name of the board. So I've got UR20, that's its physical location for my reference, that's its host IP address. It's a full-blown Ethernet Modbus TCP slave, so it's unit ID 255. If it was like gatewayed through to a Modbus serial device, you'd put the Modbus serial address here. And I don't need to do any of these data swaps, and I'm using standard Modbus TCP port 502. So that's fine, I can cancel out of it because I've not changed anything. So what I then need to do is connect some tags. So I have to go into here, tags, and add tags. And I'm going to add a digital input. So I'm going to get data from a digital input card. It's coming in as a integer, so all 16 bits are coming in as an integer. Subtype is none. Array size is 1. I'm going to put a maximum of 32767 because I know value is going to be more than 10, so I'm going to put a larger number. And then Merca is where's the driver type, so it's Modbus. Bidirectional connection is the name of the telemetry connection, and I'm reading holding registers, and the address I'm reading is 0, and I'm reading it as an integer. So if I hit refresh, hopefully that will appear. There it is. And I'm actually reading a value because the actual digital input card has some inputs enabled, so I'm reading those, and I'm just going to add a couple more. So if I go add analog in, and again analog in is an integer, so it's a numeric value, and it's one array size, and I'm going to put again another larger number here because I know the number will be greater than 10, and I'm using Modbus, and connection is UR20 left board, and the address I'm reading this time is address 1. Save that, and then I want to read the analog output as well. What I've actually got for my testing is an analog output card feeding directly into an analog input card to reflect the value back. So analog output is numeric, it's array size 1, and again I want to make the maximum value big, and I want to make it Modbus, bidirectional, left board, address, and it's 2048 this time. That's where the output addresses start, and again it's an integer. Okay, so I've got my telemetry app set up, the tags, and the device driver. There is a video on Modbus TCP, so if you want to watch that, that would help as well, but I've pretty much covered it there. It's quite quick. So if I now go back to the IIoT connector app and click into this line to define the tags that I want to bring in and pass through, I go add. So it's M3000 IO, publish tags periodically every 5 seconds, and then go to tags, define captured tags and pick them all. Save, there they all are, and now save that. And you can see it's exchanging data already, so that's working. So that's exchanging data every 5 seconds. Just to show you, if I go back to the UOS controller homepage, I've got a Node-RED application, and this is where my Modbus TCP data is coming from. So I go to the control center, apps, Node-RED, open. So I've got these two sections of code, blocks of code. So I'm sending an analog value to the output card. So I'm sending various values by just clicking on these buttons. So I'm just simulating a change of state of the output, and then I'm reading it back. So the moment I'm reading 0 back. So if I send 2047, every 5 seconds it's reading it, and you're seeing 2047. So if I go back to EasyConnect, go into Asset Manager, Asset Inventory, and then add a new asset. So this is where I'm going to subscribe to the values coming back from the Modbus device. So I pick details, it's custom. The name will be M3000 IO, and the variables I'm going to add will be added individually. So digital in, device name is coming from the M3000, metric is digital in, create that. So basically I have to create the tags again within the EasyConnect environment. So analog in, the last one, analog out, create variable, create asset. So the assets are created, and then you actually have to create a structure. So you go into here, new structure, and that will be M3000 structure. Then click into here and pick M3000 IO and pick M3000 controller, and make sure you click add structure, add structure. You get that, create structure, structure's created, and now you can go to Data Visualization, Metric Overview, add a metric, and then if you click into here you can see the 3 tags that you've passed all the way from Modbus TCP to EasyConnect. And hopefully now you're seeing some live values. So we're sending analog out 2047, and we're reading a digital in 897. And if I go back to Node-RED and I change that to 32,000, do a refresh. What I should have done, once I tick them like that, save them. So save you as M3000 structured IO. Okay, so you're now seeing that value. I'm not quite sure why I'm not seeing the analog in at the moment. I'll have to go back and correct that, but I have got status good, and their double data type, it must be in bytes, so it's a double byte. So digital in, I've just got that as physically hardwired, so I can't change the state of that, but the analog out, I can just go into Node-RED and change it again here to 16233. Go back to EasyConnect. Doesn't always update automatically, so let's do a refresh. There. Okay, so it is working, it's passing data. So what you can then do, so that's the metric overview, is go into live monitor. And you can actually create a simplistic HMI style page. So if I want to add a metric, click on there, drop on the screen, and in here you point to the data type you want to use. So I want to use metric, and I want to use M3000 structure digital in. Save that. There we go, there's the live value in a HMI style page, and I can just make that a little bit smaller, and then I can add plain text. Digital input, and then I can have another metric. I'll just have the analog output. There we go, 1, 2, 3, make that a little bit smaller, drag that into position, and put some more text alongside that. So I have got another video within the EasyConnect playlist which goes through how you make use of this data visualization. But that's the basics of it, but in here you've also got the ability to bring in pictures. So draw your area and then point to a picture. So let's have that. There we go. So you can have static images, you can have shapes, and you can have gauge type displays as well. So if I drop a gauge down and click in here, metric will be the analog output. Save that. Here we go. So in style you can define what you want the range to go to. So I want the range to go to 32767. Make the text a bit smaller. Text size auto. Okay, it's probably not the ideal thing to show on the gauge, but you can see we're seeing the value 123. So again, if I go into Node Red and change that to 32,000 and go back to EasyConnect, there we are. So we're seeing live values. The live monitor, the data visualization, is really purely for information purposes. It's fairly basic, but you can imagine you could have a list of tags there and just have something visible. There's no control, and then when you've done that you can save that as a view. So save view and call it M3000. Dashboard, as I say, it's very basic, but you get the idea what it can do. And you can have multiple views created, and you can duplicate or create a new view, and you can go full screen. So hopefully that's given you an insight into setting up the EasyConnect service within PROCON-Connect. And I think I'm going to end the video there, and I will keep adding onto this PROCON-Connect playlist with other features later. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you again soon.